Welcome to TLC for the Soul podcast, where soul meets spirit. You have entered into sacred space. I'm your host, TAMI Chambers, and I'm here to help you shine. Now let's get going on this podcast journey. Hello, friends. Hello. It is time for our much anticipated Earth Council updates for June. Well, I anticipated. I'm excited. For June. Let's just, whoops. Let's just get ourselves, oh, it's so windy. Oh my gosh, here we go again with the tripod. So excited. I just channeled these in and I'm like, oh, I want to deliver them like right now to you guys. And then, and I also want to beat the hot sun and go on a bike ride right after this. So I have got some exciting updates and news to share on what has been, I think, the tail end here of a very challenging, testing period over the last couple of weeks. It started, a couple of weeks ago with some weird financial stuff, and it continued on this past 3 or 4 days with some other weird little tests and trials. I know Saturn and Uranus, some of the other outer planets are playing a part in that, but I do recall our last Earth Council update in May, where it seemed like the guides had the council members had a lot of things to share for the month of June, and it does seem pretty juicy, so I'm excited to see what's going to happen here. These updates and trials, let me just do this first. Let me just wrap us all like we always do in love light and light love. Inviting in the guides who overlight TLC for the soul. Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, Pleiadians. Inviting in our Earth Council members. Just so I don't leave anybody out. Master Yeshua, Mother Mary, Master Hilarion. I kind of bow my head to each one. Lady Venus, Lady Portia, Merlin, and Mary Magdalene. The past few weeks, it was one of those kinds of tests where did we talk about this? Oh, I talked about it in Patreon for Motivational Mondays yesterday. But it was the kind of tests that were just enough to, I'm holding the tripod, were just enough to get you out of your comfort zone, but not so much that you couldn't pass the trials and the tests. And so late yesterday, I was like, what is the purpose of these tests? Kind of had enough of this particular one that's happening right now. And the guides said tenacity. So that could be a whole other show in and of itself. Tenacity of a bringer of the light. So I'm not really going to cover that too much here because I want to bring us now some good news, some stuff to look forward to with this solstice that's happening next week. It's happening kind of around the same time as the full moon. Oh, tripod, stay there. The wind is really heavy, but I was like, they just keep calling me to this back deck to do these updates. So let me see if I can hold the tripod with my foot, and then I will sit back, and I'm going to be reading the channeling from my tablet. So this is the channeling. I'm just going to read it. I'll just pause if I think of any other questions. Oh, the air's quite cool. As I do this, I will bring those up along the way. I really didn't have a lot of questions for them this time, like the last time, but we shall see. They were calling this transmission 5 key points. And I think that within each one of these little updates are activation codes for you, because the 5 key points was this feels like a metaphor to not just you're making 5 key points. And they're right. There's key codes and activations in these updates for each one of you individually. You'll get what you need based on what you need out of these. Some of these points may apply to you 100 and some may not. All 5 may apply to you, or maybe only some of them. You will know when you hear them. As always, these are updates from our Bringers of the Light Earth Council, where I'm an ambassador to the council, sharing these updates with you. Don't just take them at face value. If you're like, yeah, whatever, there's some girl channel and some updates, go within, check in with your own guides about how these apply to you, do some experiments or do your own research. Check in, see what this means to you as a bringer of the light. And if it doesn't resonate, then that part's not meant for you. Just leave that for somebody else. Okay, so this is the June 2024 Earth Council, Bringers of the Light Earth Council transmission, 5 key points. Point number 1, or key point number 1, Earth planetary shift at the solstice. There is a gathering of energy as we reach the solstice gateway, June 21st to 22nd, and you may already start to be feeling and receiving like insight and intel as to what that might be for you. Those of you working with the planetary grids at this time will be leveling up and moving around in terms of your assignments. You will receive direct guidance as to the new areas you'll be covering for the next quarter and beyond if required. These are areas that require deep restoration and work and will need a particular soul DNA structure in order to merge with the land spirits in these locations and follow guidance by the higher councils of each area as to what type of energy work is required. Example locations, but not all inclusive: Gaza, the northern part of Asia, Ireland and the south of Wales collectively, and Maui, Lahaina, and many more. Each of you will receive very specific directions and instructions for your assignment, and you are asked to follow that guidance as soon as you can. So this would be like Shamans Without Borders, or Healers Without Borders, or whatever kind of work. This is land restoration after, deep wounding in a particular area, working with particular planetary consciousness in certain areas of the planet to help with upgrading and up-leveling. So if that's you, I know that's me. I already know I'm assigned to Lahaina. I saw some videos about it the other day and I'm like, what in the fuck was that? Oh, sorry. Did you see that? It was like a little bug, but it looked like a huge, golly. If that's a mosquito, I'm going inside. I've had it with mosquitoes today. It looked like a huge black bird on the screen when it got in front of the camera. I saw some videos of Lahaina the other day and I'm like, this restoration process is taking much too long. They said it's been 10 months since the fire and I'm like, they still don't have temporary housing up. I was like, this seems to be going very slow. Anyway, so you may get a same area or another area or maybe none of the areas I said. You will know when you know what your area is. And that little bug just flew away like, goodbye. All right, so that's pretty self-explanatory. Typically with those types of assignments, you're going in, you're merging with land spirits, you're bringing healing energy in. You may be guided to do it at certain times of the month or every day or whatever. Just pay attention and, do as you see fit with your own practice. Key point number 2, twin flame reconciliation. And I know the guide said they were going to have a very comprehensive update for this month. So their update is, this is a massive influx of reunion energy at this time to support the reunion of various twin flame groups. You will receive very specific intelligence as to how to go about this assignment. There I go with my words again. Keep in mind, okay, I do have comments in this I want to make at the end. Keep in mind that a reunion and work with your counterpart is only the beginning of your soul contract together. There will be time allotted for the requisite reunion of two as one, like, getting to know each other and working out the steps it will require for each pair to come together and thus begin their joint soul work. This council views this work of great importance to the overall light quotient of the planet, and as such, there will be a quickening of energy to quote unquote move this phase of the reunion along so that ultimately the pair can get to work. There is sensitivity to the emotions and the physical 3D things that involve a merging of two souls as one in the 3D, but ultimately there is work to be done, and this requires that these relationships move forward quickly to the next level. As you've encountered and heard along this way, the majority of soul work required to meet this level of engagement has been completed and is now ready to move forward. So, this does not surprise me, the way they're bringing this update through. Basically, if you've been working to manifest a twin flame or a divine counterpart, it doesn't have to necessarily be one or the other, just be a very, very high level soul partnership. Then it looks like the portal is opening at this June solstice to allow more of those to materialize in the 3D. Many of you, you'll know who you are if it's you, have been working with your counterpart or twin flame or whatever moniker you want to give to this in the 5D for quite some time now, in dream time, in the 5D, through telepathy and all sorts of other soul work, to do the healing work required to align to this other person. Now, we've said in the past, we've channeled in the past that from a higher level, like earth councils and above perspective, ultimately this is a divine soul partnership. It's more like a business deal, so to speak, the business of being a bringer of the light, and not so much about the 3D romance. The 3D romance is like the reward, and the rewards for doing all the work, right? So it sounds like here they're going to push these reunions along. So I have been seeing quite a few, or hearing quite a few readings where it's like, well, when this comes in, it's going to come in very fast. And it's like the guides are sensitive to the fact that, not everybody wants to jump into some 3D relationship like, day 2 or whatever, like, hi there, and then day 2, like, you're already moving in together or something. So they're going to allow some time. I'm getting the sense that it's somewhere between, they're saying about 3 months. They're going to give these reunion pairs about 3 months to sort all that stuff out, and then they're going to move you forward. That could be relocations, it could be moving house, it could be coming, it's going to be different for each one of you based on your assignments, where you'll be going and all that. So it still kind of seems up in the air. But it does seem like there's this quote, like they said, quote unquote, getting to know you period. Like, because you've done so much soul work, I don't think you just blind faith, like, jump into anything regardless of who comes along anymore. So for those of you that are worried, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to meet someone and, I'm going to be like moving in like day 2. No. This is going to be it's going to be like a very, they keep saying like curated relationship, where, very heavily guided and guarded. So nothing's going to happen too soon, but nothing's going to take too long either. So that's a reward. It is a big reward. And I don't want to harp on it too long, but it sounds very, like when I got the channeling, it felt very much like, we think of like divine counterpart relationship or twin soul or whatever the word is, like, oh, the romance, the emotions, the passion and all that. And from the guide's perspective, there's none of that. There's no like, 3D emotional body behind it. They're kind of like, you're here to do a job, let's get going. And they're really excited, I think, for this, because they've been with you this whole, who knows how long time, years of your journey maybe, to get you to this point. So it's really almost like receiving a promotion at work kind of thing, with some really good perks. It's like receiving a job with some really good perks. Oh, what does that sound? My house makes some scary sounds sometimes with the wind. Key point number 3, shifts of consciousness. There is a great leveling up happening at this time. Off-planet light beings are aligning their energized energies to support a wave of light body upgrades to the human body template. We did also bring this in yesterday too, at the weekly. This involves deep transformative work on the pineal, pituitary, third eye, brainstem, and spinal cord. This work occurs during sleep time and is happening with those souls who volunteered at a soul level to be in this program. So this may not be everybody, but if it's you, you already know. I think you pretty much already know it's you. Is this some sort of genome testing? You might inquire if you've been involved in these types of activities before. And they said, well, yes and no. They're not committing. Either way, the human genome of the DNA structure is not being manipulated at this time. We are working on the helix that lives in the brainstem and the spinal cord with the ultimate goal of upgrading from a somewhat archaic system of spinal fluid and brainstem fluid to that of a rainbow access of light stream packets that will enhance both 3D bodily structure and allow those of you who would like to experience greater levels of consciousness to entrain the body to receive advanced light codes. This is equal to moving from denser 3D matter to a 4D etheric skin, so to speak. This channeling will mean the most to those involved in this project, but for all, this is a major upgrade and something to be excited about. If we can reach a mass level of higher consciousness bodies working this template, then we can move forward with what's being called planetary jump. Sounds like a project name. Planetary jump. More to follow on that later. They said give this one some time. Very interesting, very exciting. Ooh, I think we're working with the Pleiadians and other star seed groups that have done similar stuff in the past, who've also been involved in engineering this 3D template, which I'm like, there's so many flaws in this thing. Like, what? Come on, this thing is just horrible. I mean, maybe in a denser reality, but now I'm like, come on, we could just be so much more. All right, I'm going to leave that there. Oh, sometimes me and my son are like, 3D body just doesn't make any sense. Who approved this template? Okay, whew. Let me just take a breath. Let me just get a drink of water. Key point number 4, your home location. Each one of you has been very carefully assigned in certain parts of the grid system in order to maximize the light grids. However, with these new energies entering at the June Solstice 2024, the grids will be receiving a much needed reinstall of planetary codes, thus exalting them. Oh, I get chills on this one. This means that there is no longer a requirement for light beings to hold the grids as tightly as there was prior to this time. Another reason to celebrate. This will allow for some much rewarded reassignments of locations for those of you who've been manifesting such a change. As I throw my hand up in the air. Keep your intent clear of where you would like to be. Sometimes you don't know yet, though. They didn't say that. I threw that in there. They said, keep your intent clear of where you would like to be, and these considerations will be evaluated soon. Decisions on a wave of reassignment locations will be made at the Lion's Gate, and approval will be given for those souls to make these moves as desired. If that is you, stay clear in your intentions and allow for divine guidance and higher signs to guide you along on this journey. So I would just say it would be like, I've been wanting to go move over here, or I really want to go back and live over here. And you've been somewhere else all this time, still wishing that you could be, the place you really want to be. Well, it looks like the doors are opening for reassignments. However, if there's somewhere that's more for your higher and greatest good at this time than place you want to be, I would just stay open to all possibilities, because it could be that you're reassigned to somewhere that's actually better than the place that you want to be, better for you at this time. So just, I think the overall intent is want to get out of here, wherever that is, tired of being in this place or whatever, just feels like it's time to move on or want to experience something different, whatever your reasons are. And then just stay open to new possibilities. And key point number 5, rewards. I feel like I want to play like a little violin, or not a violin like, oh yeah, we've heard that before, but kind of like, or some sort of celebration music that says, this was very loving when it was channeled. Every being involved in this ascension project has been and will continue to be rewarded for your efforts. At times this may not seem so, but we ask you to continue to look around you and find all the blessings and miracles in your life. You are being greatly protected as bringers of the light, and as such, receive a higher level of divine support, guidance, wisdom, and intel than any other soul on the planets at this time. They did say planets plural, and they did not ask me to go back and correct that. So we're not the only planet going through this process at this time. Recognize yourself for who you are. Reward yourself for major accomplishments. Do a life review and see with your master senses times where you've been pulled up and out of lower consciousness experiences and leveled up. Not every soul receives these opportunities for advancement in a single lifetime. The journeys you've been on in the past at a lower earth consciousness level would have taken many lifetimes to complete. We see you, bringer of the light, and we acknowledge all your contributions. At the time of the June Solstice 2024, each one of you will receive a great reward for a job well done. This will help you to keep going on the next part of the journey ahead. And it is with much love and adoration for you, dear soul, that we complete this transmission. So I thought those were all very, very positive updates. So this June 2024, I think it's a time of great celebration. I was thinking about like how to celebrate Litha at this time, what to do during this time. And I think it's just really, like I said, maybe doing a life review, just thinking back, just being grateful for your life, no matter what anomalies you might think are in it right now. Obviously the same old, you're there for a reason, it's part of your soul journey, yada, yada, yada. But I think it's nice to hear these, they're saying like the adoration of the soul that chooses to go into human form. And, many members on this council have been in a human 3D form before. So there's a great understanding for the role of being a human in a 3D world. So I do like the fact that we have, an amount, like a mixture of members in the council, because I think they can relate to a lot of things that are going on. Like they just keep saying, but ultimately we got a business to run. Yes, ultimately there's a business to run, but I have to say so far that I kind of really enjoy working for this quote unquote the man more than any others in the past, and more than the 3D man. So let me just check in and see if there's anything else they want me to share. No. Okay, so they are complete. I'm really happy to be delivering this message to you. I don't know what's coming next for Bringers of the Light or here at TLC for the Soul, what transmissions we might be doing next, or what I think we may have a shaman strum or an earth song or something we'll later in the week. But anyway, I wanted to get this out to you as soon as I had it. And right now I don't know if it's too windy to ride my bike. I'm gonna go try and see if I can do a couple laps on my bike. And we will see you again soon, somewhere out there in the astrals at TLC for the Soul. Take care.